What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at the St. Vitus basement, and we return round 3 with Stryker. Thank you, Dan, so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you here, despite getting a lot of bass player hate mail from the last interview.
Whatever, man. Who cares?
Yeah, that was actually pretty hilarious, I gotta say. But now that Play to Win has been out for about a year now, do you have like a conclusion on this whole record cycle, or like how everything's been with it so far?
It's been great. We've done a bunch of really great tours. We were able to make it over to Europe, and then we did a little tour with Death Angel, and then we toured in Canada with Steel Panther, which was awesome. And then now we're on tour in the summer, man, like soaking up the cosmic rays. It's pretty good, man.
Especially here in New York.
Yeah. It's it's not as bad as Arizona. So
yeah, that is true. Everybody, a lot of people who go to Arizona first and then come here, they're like, "Oh, this is nothing for us."
yeah, this is a joke compared to like 47. That's Fahrenheit, or no, Celsius. So yeah, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but
Neither
I think
do
it's
I.
117 or something like that.
Fuck that.
It was ridiculous, but
Yeah.
what do you?
Exactly. But what I'm curious is, now that Play to Win has been out for almost a year, like, do you prefer to play newer material when the record's been out a little bit longer and it's been processed more, or do you like to throw in as much new stuff as soon as the record comes out?
Yeah, honestly, like we've been a band for so long that like some of the older stuff that we normally do, we just haven't been doing on this tour because like we're just kind of tired of playing some of those songs. So I give the new songs a bit of a chance, and it's been lots of fun. Like it's more fun for us. I mean, sometimes fans are like, "Well, I wanted to hear this song or this song," and it's like, "Well, we'll be back and we'll play those ones next time." But
Yeah. Does it get harder to like put a set list together with each album you put out?
yeah, man. I mean, it's like there's like some songs that we feel like we have to play because they're the ones that everybody knows the most and probably wants to hear. But like we always want to play like some of the maybe like B-side type stuff, and then it's hard to squeeze those in depending on the set length. Like for the headlining set that we do like 70 minutes or whatever, we can put a bunch of stuff that we want to do in there. But yeah, I think it's getting harder. I mean, it's only going to get worse, right, as we put out albums. So
Yeah, exactly. Now, I mentioned this in the last Stryker interview, but when I first saw you guys play, it was with Dark Tranquillity, melodic death metal band. Then you played with Unleash the Archers, which is, I guess you could say, power metal.
Yeah,
and then,
totally.
you do a tour with like Steel Panther, and now you're doing this tour with Holy Grail. Have you noticed like a different type of audience or a different reaction to your music depending on like the tours you've been on?
I guess so. I mean, we've had some tours where like the reaction was like obviously that crowd was really into us, but on most tours that we've done, we've usually had a good experience. I think we have a good mix of sort of not heavy and then heavier stuff that we can always like switch up the set list depending on like we don't play maybe like a ballad on the like Warbringer Dark Tranquillity tour, but we might do that. We're playing with like Steel Panther or whatever.
They got some of the best modern ballads today. Tiger Woods is like one of the best.
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. Now, being the vocalist of a band, do you like need to hear music to come up with lyrics, or do you sometimes have like lyrics or even just like a story in mind, and maybe the band can like that helps the band come up with some music?
Well, I actually write a lot of the riffs and stuff like that for the band, so I find that usually I write music first and then come up with the lyrics after and melodies and stuff like that. So it's always like a sort of chicken and egg, like lyrics first or melody first or song first. It's just kind of like whatever works.
Yeah. Being that you also contribute to the guitar playing of the band, like do you sometimes use your vocal melody to kind of go along with the guitar, or is guitar melody and vocal melody a completely separate entity?
It depends. Sometimes, yeah. Like it's funny, I remember listening to, I think it was Michael Wagner was telling us that it took them a long time to get Ozzy to stop singing the guitar riff, and do a different melody over top of it. Like early Black Sabbath stuff, he would follow the guitar, I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's correct or not, but
yeah,
that's what he said.
Yeah. So basically, bottom line is it's the music that always has to come first, because that helps you determine pretty much everything.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, I usually have some ideas of like what kind of, if we're doing a song like, I had the idea for the song Former Glory. We were like drinking at a bar, and I was like, man, that'd be a great song. It'd be a good like rocky style like theme song, like montage song. So like those lyrics worked, and then we kind of wrote the music around that to be more of like a sort of montagey type, Eye of the Tiger type of thing.
Yeah. When you're playing material live, this is going to be my third occasion seeing you guys tonight, and when you're playing live, do you try to execute the material exactly how people are hearing it on the album, or do you like to maybe throw in a couple extra solos or beats or even another vocal improv element just to make the live presence a little bit different?
No, it's pretty similar. I mean, other than like endings and stuff like that, like we might change up the ending and stuff, but for the most part, we stick pretty close to it. Vocally, I try and do what's on the album, and I can't always do it, but like, you know, I might have to change a few things here and there just to like, because when you're singing in the studio, it's sort of different than like when you're like out of breath live and like jumping around and stuff like that. So, but yeah, for the most part, try and do what's on the album.
Yeah. So being that you try to replicate that, is there maybe a similar energy that you challenge in the studio and the live presence, or is it a completely separate experience?
It's totally different. I probably have more beers when we're doing it live, so there's
really?
a different.
I've heard the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I think our first album, Eyes in the Night, was like fueled by Coors Light, which is kind of embarrassing, but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a good studio beer. You can drink it all day, and it's never feel too fucked up.
No judgment here.
Yeah.
No judgment here. But do a Jack and Coke next time, please.
I will, man. Maybe I'll get like a better tone if I do that.
Yeah, I mean, it helped Lemmy.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man.
Yeah. Now, another thing I'm really curious about is because being that everybody does contribute guitar work into Stryker, it's clear to say that it's a very guitar-driven band. So,
Yeah, totally.
Does everybody in the band like have a different guitar style that they contribute? Like, is one focused more on chords while another one's focused on solos, or is it just like a free-for-all with everybody?
Well, for us, like most of the riffs are just like doubled when we play live, and but you can definitely hear the difference between the like the guitar solo styles. Like Chris has a very more like a bit more of a percussive style in his lead playing, and Tim is maybe a little more melodic in certain ways. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I think we don't do too much in terms of like guitar players playing different riffs at the same time. It's usually the same riff. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, I have some bad news because this is the third interview that we've done together. So now that we got all like the informative questions out of the way, we're gonna do a couple fun questions.
Yeah,
for
let's
you.
do it. Hell yeah.
All right. You've traveled all over the world now. You played in Europe. What is the worst thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, worst thing I've ever eaten. I don't know, man. I had one time when we were in somewhere in Spain. The promoter took us out and we got like some sort of traditional seafood and stuff, and I had like octopus. But I mean, I've had octopus since then, and it was pretty good. But at the time, it was like it must have been like kind of raw or something, and it was just terrible. It was like chewing a piece of gum. It was awful. I think that was a long time ago. Since then, I don't know. We usually just eat the same stuff every day, so it's nothing too crazy.
Okay. All right. Question number 2. Out of all the places you've toured in and stuff, what was the worst driving wise?
Oh, a long time ago, we did a drive in Canada. We played in Thunder Bay, which is on this side of Canada, and then we drove overnight and all day to the next show, which was in Saskatoon. And for the viewers, if you just like Google Maps that drive, it's the worst idea we've ever had. So we loaded out of that show, drove straight, and loaded in the next day. It was the worst.
So nobody slept?
Nobody slept. Well, I mean, like in the van, yeah, people like slept in the van, but it was like someone was driving the whole time. We just cycled out drivers.
That
was the worst. That was like the pinnacle of terrible drives.
Really? Was there traffic?
Luckily, not really. I was in Canada, so like it's just wide open nothingness. So.
Okay. All right. And the third and final question is, what is the strangest thing you've seen in a mosh pit?
Oh, this actually happened a long, long time ago. There was an old bar in Edmonton, and it was a record store too, called Octopus Inc. It's not there anymore, but I saw a guy get like fully knocked out in the mosh pit, just got hammered, and a dude picked him up and he was like half conscious and just poured a beer into his mouth, and we were just like, shit, that dude's gonna like drown. He's like unconscious. It was crazy. I mean, he was okay, but we were like, that is fucking crazy. Like, we were like genuinely concerned about that dude.
Did they call an ambulance or escort
He
him out?
just fucking stumbled off. He was all right, but we're just like, dude, you're like pouring a beer into a dude's mouth who just got like completely laid out. Whatever. He was okay, I think. I don't know where he is now, but I think he's okay.
Beer can sometimes be the solution.
Exactly, man.
So before we go, I'd like to thank you so much for coming back on Heavy New York. You guys are always welcome here. Is there just anything else in terms of tours you'd like to promote, or any new music that we could be expecting?
Well, our drummer just quit.
Yeah.
Our drummer Adam, longtime drummer. So we're just gonna go home and try and figure out what we want to do next. Probably work on some new material. I'm sure we'll be touring some more in the future, but for right now, we don't have anything lined up. So
Okay.
yeah,
Well, we'll see you guys soon enough.
absolutely,
Love
man.
you guys here in New York.
Hell yeah.
All right. Everybody, we are here with Dan of Stryker. Play to win. Pick it up if you haven't already. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we'll see you next time.